There are a few mistakes that I see a lot of gentlemen make when it comes to purchasing a suit. So in today's video, let's discuss 5 of the most common mistakes that I see a lot of gentlemen make. Now, these are going to be a culmination of not only off-the-rack suits, but as well as custom suits. So let's get started with number 1, buying the wrong size. Now, I have an entire video on how a suit should properly fit, which I'll link down below in the description. But I think a lot of people would be surprised to find out that many men, even men that wear suits on a regular basis, simply don't know what size they actually wear or should wear. Something I see a lot is a gentleman will come in for his first custom suit and he'll bring in a suit that he already owns. Most oftentimes it's an off-the-rack suit, or maybe in a custom suit that he purchased a long time ago. And the suit is oftentimes either way too big or way too small. Again, I have a video detailing all of what you should look for, but the main thing that you want to look for when purchasing a suit, and a big mistake that a lot of gentlemen make, is they don't look at the shoulders first. The reason you want to look at the shoulder first is because the shoulder is the one of the main areas on a suit that you simply cannot alter. Again, a lot of gentlemen, let's say they'll actually wear a size 40, but they'll be buying 42s, sometimes even 44s or 38s. So essentially what we're looking for in the shoulder is we want it to hit point to point, meaning we want it to hit right on one shoulder bone to the other shoulder bone. Now, of course, when buying off the rack, this can get a little bit tricky because not every gentleman is a cookie cutter size, meaning not everyone is a 40, 42, 44, 46 jacket. A lot of gentlemen are those in-between odd sizes like 41, 43, 45, 37, which of course is where a custom suit can come into play. Also, speaking of being a cookie cutter size, not everyone is a standard 6 or 7 drop. Now, what does this mean? Whenever you're purchasing an off-the-rack suit, it will come in a drop, meaning that most times it's going to be a 6, sometimes it can be a 7 drop if it's a long. So what does the drop mean? The drop is going to refer to the difference between the jacket size and the trouser size. So for example, if you're purchasing a suit and it's a 6 drop, let's say the jacket is a 40, the trouser size is going to be a 34. If it's a 7 drop, it'll be a 33. Again, a lot of gentlemen aren't these cookie cutter sizes. Some gentlemen I've seen are a 44 jacket and their trouser size is a 32 or a 34 if they have a more athletic build. One workaround with this is, of course, again, a custom suit, but if that's not an option for you, trying to find a suit that is a separate, meaning that you can mix and match the jacket sizes to the trouser sizes. This is going to allow you to get the correct size trouser with the correct size jacket if you're not a traditional 6 or 7 drop. So once again, the first biggest mistake a lot of gentlemen make is simply buying the wrong size. Make sure that wherever you go, you get the help of a sales professional and allow them to properly fit you and size you so that way you don't make this common mistake. Now on to the second most common mistake that I see a lot of gentlemen make, and that is not buying the correct suit for the occasion or season. Now, once again, in some of my other videos, I always preach how context is king, meaning that you never want to, for example, purchase a velvet suit for the summertime or a linen suit for a fall-winter occasion. So let's use my outfit as an example. I'm wearing a seersucker suit. It is currently spring. Today, it'll be about 80 degrees here in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is suitable for the occasion. We're just a few weeks away from summer. Summer probably starts in just a matter of days. So once again, this actually makes sense. Rule number 2 can get a little tricky, especially if you're someone that doesn't have to wear suits often, because a lot of the times what I'll see is a gentleman never has to wear a suit and he goes in the store and sees a really nice velvet jacket, for example, but it's the middle of summer. Unfortunately, that's not something that I would recommend purchasing. While it may look great, let's say it's a beautiful burgundy or green velvet jacket or dinner jacket, that's not necessarily appropriate for, let's say, a summer wedding. So number 2 is something that is extremely important. Again, this goes along with context. You want to make sure that you are purchasing a suit for the correct season that you'll be wearing it in. Now, of course, this leads me into mistake number 3, choosing quantity over quality. Now, one thing I preach a lot to my sales professionals, especially during the training process, is how important it is to stress to customers price versus cost. Now, many people know, some people don't know, that there is a big difference between price versus cost. Price is simply how much you pay for something up front versus cost, which is simply how much something is going to affect you in the long run. We'll use suits as an example. You might walk into a store and see a suit that is extremely low on the price end, but of course you're sacrificing quality at that point, and it'll essentially cost you more in the long run. So let's say you purchase a suit for $100. That suit more than likely is going to be fused, meaning that's going to be glued together. It's more than likely going to be some type of polyester or synthetic material, and as a result, it's going to cost you more in the long run, meaning that you'll probably have to replace it after just maybe 1 or 2 wears or just after a few months. Also, if you choose to dry clean it, it's probably going to turn colors after a while, and that fuse, meaning that glue, is going to start to separate, which will cause very unsightly rippling and bubbling on the garment. Now, of course, it would be very insensitive for me to just assume that everyone has the budget to go out and purchase an expensive suit. However, it might cost you more upfront price-wise, but it'll actually end up saving you way more money in the future on the cost side. You won't have to purchase another suit for years if it's of a good quality. It'll be extremely versatile for multiple events that you have to wear. And of course, as you continue to dry clean it and as you continue to take care of it properly, which we'll get into in mistake number 5, overall, it'll just be a much better purchase and a much smarter investment, which really at the end of the day is the key word here, investment. Purchasing a quality suit is an investment. It is something that should be looked at as such. You want to look at it the same way as purchasing a vehicle. You don't always want to purchase the least expensive vehicle because that may lead to long-term implications of it breaking down quicker, especially if it's used, for example. You want to make sure that you always try to keep in mind, of course, your budget, but also, if possible, try not to skimp out on quality over quantity. Next up, we have mistake number 4. Now, this falls in line with a custom suit. One mistake that I see a lot of gentlemen make is they actually end up over-designing their suit. I think we've all seen situations where someone has a suit and each one of the buttonholes has a contrast stitch. Same with the front of the jacket, same with the shirt sometimes as well. I've also seen, let's say, a navy suit with red buttons. And don't get me wrong, if you're purchasing something, you have every right to make it look exactly how you want within the confines of whatever is available, of course. But the reason I say this is a mistake is because one thing I found is a lot of gentlemen will over-design a suit and then in 3 to 5 years, they don't like it anymore. A lot of times with suits, less really is more. So just keep in mind that whenever you are designing a suit, you want to make it more of a timeless approach, meaning that in 3 to 5 years or more, is this something that I really want to put on? And a lot of the times, if you go heavy on a lot of the contrast stitchings or just decide to check every design option possible, it might not be something that you want to wear for years to come. And last but certainly not least, we have mistake number 5, which I actually just made a video on as well, and that is improper suit maintenance. Now, once again, if it's your suit, you can do whatever you want with it, but one thing I always recommend, especially if you spend a certain amount of money on a garment, is simply just to take care of it. Suits are not t-shirts, meaning that they go on a specific hanger. You shouldn't just ball them up and throw them in the washer. They should be taken care of in the correct manner. Suits are one of those things where you never know you need it until it's time to wear it. For example, those weddings always sneak up, those random work events, those birthdays, galas, and if it's a situation where you don't think you'll wear it for a while, I'm totally not against also maybe putting it inside of a garment bag and then hanging it up, just so nothing happens to it. And you never want to be found with a suit that you've kind of just neglected and then it's lost its shape or lost its luster. So always make sure that you are properly maintaining your suit. So that concludes this video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And again, check out the videos down below. And please always make sure that you never make these 5 mistakes because it'll save you a lot of money and a lot of time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.